Hello then, anybody who is there, and welcome to this first live streamed desk break yoga class. So whether this is your first time coming along to a session or whether you've been coming along, we've been doing this for about a year now, so whether you've been doing it for a while, either way, you are very welcome. And this is the first attempt at doing the class this way. So I apologize if there are any technical problems and I have, done the wrong thing or anything like that. Please do comment in the chat. I think you should be able to if you're having any problems or if you've got any questions or even just to say hello. That would be lovely. So if this is your first time coming along, whether you're here now or whether you're watching later, all you need for this is a chair, something like a dining room chair. Excuse me, something like a dining room chair is ideal. But if all you've got is a chair with wheels, then that's also fine. But I just encourage you to adjust the height of it so that you can get your feet flat on the floor. Also, with this, because I can't see you and see what you're doing, then please take responsibility for yourself. Don't do anything which doesn't feel right in your body. Everything that I'm going to say is really just a suggestion. And so you can adapt and modify and do what feels right for you. And that's the most important thing. Okay, so welcome along. Our theme today is going to be reset. So this, I've come to this theme just because, like I'm sure some of you will be coming back after a holiday, or the kids have gone back to school, that sort of thing, and starting to get your head back into what you're doing. It's also, as well, this idea of resetting can be quite useful if you've had a lot going on, you've had a really busy morning, want to take a bit of time just to pause, let go of what's happened already, and get ready for the afternoon. So even just in that sense, this idea of resetting is a really nice one. So we will begin, as we always do, just sitting up nice and tall on our chair. So I'd encourage you to come towards the edge of the chair so that you are using your core muscles to sit up nice and tall. Think about being really balanced through your hips, both of your sitting bones on the chair. And then think about lifting up through the crown of your head, letting your shoulders kind of come back and down. And then hands can be resting wherever feels comfortable for you. And then either close your eyes or just look down away from the camera and bring your attention inwards. And just take a moment just to check in with where you are today. And as I say, this idea of resetting. So just noticing where you're at just now. Maybe doing a quick scan of your body. Seeing if any parts of your body are talking to you more than others. If they are, just notice it and then try not to get too attached. Move on. Then gently bring your attention to your breath. And again, seeing how your breath feels today. Maybe your breath is fast and shallow. Maybe it's longer and slower. Maybe it feels easy or difficult. Whatever it is, just notice it. Try not to get too attached to it. And then maybe just starting to deepen that breath a little bit. And take a couple of nice deep breaths here. In and out. In and out. And just letting yourself land. Giving yourself the permission to put everything else that's been going on to one side. What's done is done. What needs to be done will still be waiting for you when you've finished. So taking one last deep breath here, and then gently opening your eyes, coming back to join us. Okay, so we're going to start off just to get a little bit of movement into the body, and we'll start off just by doing some little stretches for the neck. So I'm going to invite you to tilt your head over, bring your ear down towards your shoulders. So we're keeping the face forwards. And then maybe if that's enough for you, you can stay there, but maybe using your hand just to increase the stretch a little bit. Just increasing the stretch down the side of the neck. And then coming back to center, and then we'll take that over to the other side. So dropping your ear over to the other shoulder. Doesn't matter which way you're going. Maybe that's enough for you. Or you can bring your hand up and just use that extra little bit of gravity. So you're not sort of dragging the head over, just letting gravity do the work. And stretching out through the other side of the neck here. And then back to center. And then we'll just turn the head from one side to the other. Nice and slowly. It can be quite nice to coordinate this movement with the breath. So I like to exhale as I take the head round to the side, and then inhale, coming back to center. Exhale to the side, and then inhale to center. So just doing that a couple more times. In each direction, just bringing some movement. If you've been sitting staring at a computer screen or busy doing something in front of you, our head gets very fixed in one position. So just warming up like this is really good. And if there's any other movements that would feel good to warm up your neck, you can go ahead and take those. We'll now do some warm-ups for the shoulders. So I just invite you to bring your hands onto your shoulders if you can. If this isn't available to you, then it's fine. Just have your hands out to the sides wherever they go. And then bringing the elbows in together first of all, then up towards the sky, then round behind you, down, and then back round. So just take a few circles like that. You can decide on the pace whether you want to take it really slowly, really getting into the joint, or whether you want to make it a much bigger movement. You can just decide what feels right for your body today. And then we'll do one more that way and then take it in the other direction. So whichever way you've been doing, just flip it and turn it back in the other direction. Just we're imagining we're kind of oiling the joint here, oiling the shoulder joint, just getting everything moving. Okay. And then shake the arms out a little bit. And I'm just going to turn to the side so you can see what I'm doing. We'll just do a couple of little stretches for the arms and the hands as well. So you're still sitting up nice and tall. Bring your hands out in front of you. And first of all, we'll just let the hands come down. Really kind of push the palms downwards. With it being just after Halloween, you can think zombie arms here. And you should feel that stretch all the way through the tops of the forearms there. Maybe into the back and the shoulders, and then flip the hands the other way. So now it's as if you were kind of pressing your hands, as if you were trying to kind of do a handstand on the wall opposite you, something like that. Just bringing the hands straight up. And again, you'll get a slightly different stretch here. But this can be great if you've been busy using your hands, whether it's for typing, using a mouse, cooking, doing some DIY, cleaning, whatever jobs around the house. Anything you've been using your hands for today. Gardening, maybe. Okay, and then just give them a bit of a shake out. And then continue sitting. I'm just going to turn my chair around so that you can see. we'll just do a seated version of a cat-cow stretch. So if you've been to a regular yoga class, you might have done this on hands and knees. But we're just going to do a seated version here. So sitting up nice and tall to start with. As I say, you're towards the edge of your seat, a bit of space behind you. And we'll just begin by rounding through the spine and tucking the head and really bringing the chin down to the chest, exaggerating that rounding through the back. And then flipping it, bringing the head up and bringing a little arch to the spine here and lifting up across the chest. And then we'll just alternate between those two movements. So really rounding through the spine, tucking the chin in, and then rocking forwards on your sitting bones, arching the spine, bringing the head up and opening up through the chest here. Now you can start to bring the breath into this movement. So we would exhale as you bring the head down, and then inhale as you lift the head up. And again, we're just imagining kind of working the spine, every vertebra, just starting to wake everything up. If you've been stuck in one position, it's a particularly good one for almost just oiling the spine here as well. And I'll take a few more rounds of that movement there, just finding an expression of it that feels good for you. And the next time you've got your head up, we'll make that the last one. And then just come back to a neutral position. And then from there, we're going to come up to standing. So we will start standing well, first of all. So just getting used to this feeling of being upright, feeling what it likes to be standing up nice and tall. So have a look down at your feet. You want them about hip distance apart. If it's okay for you, if you're wearing shoes, you might want to kick your shoes off. You can just do this in your socks. And really notice how you're grounding down into the earth. And try and get your weight nice and balanced between your feet there. Then think about drawing energy up through the legs, checking in with the pelvis, making sure it's kind of in alignment, what feels like in alignment for you. Engaging the abdominal muscles slightly and the back muscles just to support your core. Shoulders roll back and down, hands are just loose by your sides. And your head, imagining that your head's just floating above your shoulders, lots of space around the neck, chin's level. And just taking a moment to stand well. Just noticing how it feels to be up. And then from there, on an inhale, I'm going to invite you to sweep your hands overhead. And first of all, just take a big stretch here. Almost like a big kind of morning wake-up stretch. And then I'm going to invite you to take your right hand across to your left wrist. And then slowly start to lean over towards the right-hand side of your body. Now, with this, only go as far as you feel in control. You want to keep your weight balanced across both feet. And so if that means you're here, then that's absolutely fine. It's not about how far over you go. It's about how good stretch you get. And then we'll inhale to reach that up, and then we'll go over to the other side. So left hand this time onto the right wrist, and then stretching that right arm up and over, keeping the abdominal muscles engaged to help support your back. And just enjoying that stretch out there all the way through the right-hand side of the body this time. And then we'll inhale to come back up. Drop the arms down. And then give them a little shake out if you need to. Then I'm going to invite you to just bring your hands up into like a kind of angel of the north. arms here. And then we're going to take a little open twist round to each side. So again, it doesn't matter too much which side you go to, but I'm turning around to my left. Bend your knees slightly so that you're not straining through the knee joint at all. And trying to keep the arms nice and open. And then we'll come back to center. And we'll go across to the other side. So just finding a twist that feels good here. And then back to center. And then just let your arms go. Maybe have a little bit of a shake out. And we're going to come around to your chair and use your chair to do a version of downward facing dog posture. So again, if this is your first time with us, it's a bit like your classic downward dog that you might do on the floor, but because we're all still not geared up for a kind of mat yoga class, we're just going to use the chair instead. So bringing your hands to the back of the chair or the seat of the chair, or if your chair's on wheels, you might want to use a table or something like that for this one. And then just walking your feet back, bringing your head down between your biceps, and think about your hips really reaching back, lengthening through the spine. Doesn't matter if your knees are bent or if your legs are straight, just find what feels right for you. And just really enjoy that stretch through the back, through the arms. Sometimes it can be helpful to think of this pose as kind of stretching through the armpits. And just breathing there. Taking any little wiggles that might feel good, sometimes hip side to side, and give you a nice side stretch in this position. Then on an exhale, just gently walking it back forwards and coming back up to standing. Now we're going to have a go at a little balance posture. So balance postures can be a fantastic way of getting your head back into where it needs to be. If you have a day you do a balance posture and you're really wobbly, it's often because your mind is elsewhere. So it's a really good way of checking in with where your head is at and doing that little reset to bring you back into the moment. We're going to start with a little warm up, first of all, just to get used to the idea of doing something a little bit wobbly. So we're standing up nice and tall in our mountain pose again. And I'm going to invite you to bring your arms up and come onto your tiptoes. And then bring your arms down and lower your heels back down to the ground. And we'll do that a few more times, bringing the breath in too. So inhaling as you rise up onto the tiptoes, reaching up through the arms, and then exhaling as you lower down. And inhaling, reaching the arms up. And then exhaling, bringing the hands down. We'll do one more. Inhaling, up onto the tiptoes, reaching up. And then exhaling, dropping your hands down. Then maybe have a little bit of a shake out there. And then we are going to have a go at what's called dancer prep. So we're not going to do the full dancer pose, but this is a kind of way of sort of warming up the body and getting into the idea of doing dancer pose. So first of all, we're back to our mountain pose, standing well. And then you might want to have your chair at the side of you, just for balance, or maybe a wall nearby or something like that, because as I say, to see how you are today. But there's no shame whatsoever in using a wall or a chair or something, table if you need to. If you have got something nearby, I'd suggest you position it on the side nearest your standing leg. So for me, I'm going to be standing on my left leg, so I've got a chair on my left-hand side. So from mountain pose, just shifting the weight, first of all, over into the leg you're going to stand on. For me, it's the left leg. And this foot here is now ready to lift up. So from there, I'm going to catch that foot, if you can, in your hand. Now, if you can't catch your ankle or your foot, you might be able to catch your trouser leg. You might be able to catch your sock. You might have something like a sock nearby that you can, a belt or a sock or something that you can use to kind of hold on to hold the foot up. Failing that, you can just stand on one leg like this. That's fine. If you can, grabbing some part of the foot, trouser, whatever, ankle. And then again, if you can, try to bring the knee down so that your knees are in alignment. And then from there, standing up nice and tall. If your balance feels okay, you can take that hand off. And you can even reach it up to the sky. And if you're bringing the hand up, think about really stretching in both directions. So the roots of your feet growing down into the ground and your fingertips reaching up towards the sky. And this is a great stretch for this hip flexor muscle here, the hip flexor into the hip there, which is something that can get really tight if we spend too much time sitting down. Great stretch there. And as I say, balance is a wonderful thing for just finding out where your head is at today. Okay, so we'll lower the foot down. Don't worry if you had to come out earlier or if you were really wobbly, that's completely fine. We're going to come over to the other side. Don't judge yourself for how this side's going to be based on how that side is. Everybody's really asymmetrical when it comes to balancing. So approach this one as a brand new day, a brand new side. Okay, so this time we're going to be taking the weight over into the right leg and lifting up the heel of the left leg, catching it wherever you can. So as I say, you might find maybe you could catch it on the other side and you can't on this side. That's absolutely fine. So maybe you hold a trouser or a sock, or just having it here and balancing on one leg is still going to be great for you. In many ways, that's harder. But yeah, if you can, grabbing the foot, and if you can, bringing that knee in alignment with the other knee. I should have turned the foot chair around for balance. And then from there, if your balance feels okay, taking that right arm up. And so you're getting a great stretch all the way down the right-hand side of the body. A great stretch on the hip flexor and the quads on the left-hand side. All things that are great to do if you're sitting down a lot. And also, as I say, a balance is a great mental workout to help bring you back into the moment, give you a bit of a reset. Okay, let's drop that down. Drop that foot down and then have a little bit of a shake out. I think what we'll do here is something called spaghetti arms, which I do quite a lot. So some of you will be familiar with this. If you haven't done this before, you get to know it. Bringing the feet a bit wider than hip distance apart, bending the knees so they're nice and soft, and then just letting the arms sway around the body. And try and think of your arms as like pieces of wet spaghetti, so they're just all floppy. So it's better rather than doing this kind of movement. If this is all you can do, then that's fine, but you'll get more out of it if you can just use the momentum of the arms and just let them flop round your body. And do bring the back heel with you as you go to avoid jarring your knees here. And this is great for easing out. That last pose dancer is actually a slight back bend, so it can be a little bit of a strain on the lower back. Okay, so coming back to center, and then we're going to do a little shoulder opener now. The dancer pose was a good little kind of warm up for this, but we'll do something that's a bit more of a kind of deliberate shoulder opener here. So I'm going to invite you to take your shoulders, roll them back, and then if you can, sort of somehow bring your arms together. Now, maybe you can clasp your hands, maybe you can clasp the elbows. If you can't do any of those, then just bring the hands back like this. So any of those is fine. The main thing we want to get is a feeling of really opening out here across the chest and the shoulders rolling back and down. And again, this is a great counter pose to what we sort of habitually do most of the time when we're, working on a computer or working at something in front of us and we've got the shoulders kind of rounded forward. So we're really thinking about the opposite of that, rolling them back and down, and the hands, either your arms just come back or the hands together in some way. And then from here, I'm going to invite you, if you want, to take this into a little bit of a forward fold. It can be quite strong, so see how you get on. Feet about hip distance apart, knees bent slightly, and then hinging at the hips, just coming forwards. Doesn't matter how far you come, but let your head go. So by that I mean kind of tuck your chin into your chest and let the crown of your head like hang down. And then maybe the arms kind of come with you. So maybe they're coming up towards the sky. Maybe if your hands are here, you've got the hands apart, or clasping the elbows. Just let them come with you as you come down. And if you have got the hands, think about kind of reaching your hands up towards the sky as your head's reaching down towards the ground. And this, bringing the head down, you get blood flowing down to the head, which is a fantastic way of, again, as I say, resetting the energy, setting you up for the rest of the day. So we'll take one more breath here. Then bend the knees and just gently rolling up to standing. And then coming back to our mountain pose. And actually that is going to be our last pose for today. So I'm going to invite you to bring your hands together, bring your palms in front of your chest, and just close your eyes. And notice how you feel now compared to how you felt at the beginning. Notice as you've had the head down there, maybe you've got a kind of rush of like, whoo, energy's like flowing around the body now. As you've had that blood going in the opposite direction. Maybe there were parts of your body that were speaking to you earlier, and now they've quietened down a bit. Maybe you notice your breath. See how that's changed. My breath, from having my head down, it's certainly, I can tell that was hard work by my breath. So we're just letting it settle back down again. Letting yourself settle in. Taking one more deep breath here. Thanking yourself for taking the time to do something that will set you up for the rest of the day. Thank you for joining me for this YouTube experiment. I'd love to hear how it's been for you, and for those of you that have been to the Zoom class before, how it compares to the Zoom class. I would love to know any thoughts. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you next time. Namaste.